Welcome, everyone, and thank you for tuning in. We were going to make this a little chat about upcoming free agency, a little post draft talk, but with the Maple Leafs just trading for Matt Murray, this is going to be a lot of discussion about that because it is a hot and heavy topic. So, if you haven't heard and you've been living on Mars the last hour, the Maple Leafs acquire Matt Murray from the Ottawa Senators. They also acquire Ottawa's third round pick in the 2023 draft and their seventh round pick in the 2024 draft. And Ottawa is retaining 25% of Matt Murray's contract. So the Leafs will be on the hook for 2 years at 4.7 million per year for Matt Murray. Frankie, I'll kick it to you first. What was your reaction to the deal? What do you like it? Do you not like it? Most of Leafs Nation online seems to absolutely hate it and thinks this could be the one that cost Kyle Dubas his job. What do you say?
Well, I was checking for two things. One, I kept refreshing my feed to make sure like there was another tweet coming because I thought for sure when the Leafs tweeted it out, there had to have been more assets coming back or a different part of the trade that we were missing. And then the second part, I wanted to make sure that was a verified account because a lot of people like to pose as insiders and accounts. And then when I kind of figured out that it was real, it's been an hour and a half, I'd say, and I'm still not processing it. Listen, you're coming with a guy with a pedigree with two Stanley Cup wins, albeit what, 4 or 5 years ago. The talent is there. The guy's gone through a hell of especially last season with the up and down from Ottawa to Belleville, and unfortunately, his dad passed away. So, that's kind of all lumped into one. But I just don't get the whole idea that this season is so important. We say that every year, but this season especially is so important because the summer after next is the time to re-sign Austin Matthews. If he doesn't see growth or a winning culture or something, and you hit your wagon to Matt Murray on a hope and a prayer, this does not seem like a smart move by Kyle Dubas. And if this is the Sault Ste. Marie factor again, I don't know, man. It'll be either the make him look like a genius or he's going to be out of a job. So I'm just puzzled that this was the guy. Like when they what from last year or last two seasons made them say, yeah, you know what, this guy can win us around or this guy can get us to the Stanley Cup final. I don't know. Like I'm still fighting with it. I guess maybe we can revisit this in a month's time when we actually see who the second goalie is, because it looks like Murray's going to be the starter if you're going to pay the guy 4.7 million. But who's going to be his backup? Are they going to have a backup? Are they going to run with Shalgren and Wall? Doesn't seem like a smart play, but I don't know. Initial thoughts is it does not look like that was the best deal they could have made. So
I think if my son ends up playing junior hockey, I'm going to make sure he gets drafted by the Sioux Greyhounds. This way, I know he's got a great shot at being picked by the Leafs to play for them at some point. It's like everybody who plays for the Sioux, come on down, play for Toronto. Listen, I have no problem with Matt Murray, of acquiring Matt Murray. Like you said, Frank, he's a two-time Stanley Cup champion. What the problem I have is that you just did some decent work to get rid of an often injured goalie who was making 3.8 million, and now you just acquired another often injured goalie who's making more, 4.7 million. And like you said, this is probably the most important season in this franchise's history because they need to show Austin Matthews that this is a team he wants to re-up for 8 years. I don't want this going into the following season like what Calgary's going through right now with Johnny Gaudreau going down to the last second. You can't have that. So it's a huge gamble. And man, Kyle Dubas has some big you know what, because he is gambling it all on Matt Murray being able to find his game. And I hope he does. I'm going to be cheering for him. We all will. But I don't know, man. If the Leafs had found another team to eat up another 50%. So they were paying 25% of his deal, around $2 million. Then I actually really like the deal because it's very low risk. That gives them even more money to find another suitable 1B type guy.
Yeah.
And then you have a really good tandem. With this, it doesn't leave them any option. It looks like they're gonna run Wall or Shalgren as his backup. Man, that's so risky. So risky.
So you're looking at right now, I'm looking at cap friendly, and the Leafs have just a shade over, I believe, $6 million left to re-sign, re-sign Sandin, Engvall, which shouldn't be much, but still. And then you have the Liljegren overage. Where's the upgrade to your team coming from then? So even if you move out Hall, which is another 2 million, you move out Kerfoot, which is about what? Is it
Three and a half.
3.5? Okay. You have to use that money to go find a replacement for Kerfoot. So you're kind of like, you know what I mean? Like by the end of this, we hope that there's a trade that we don't see coming, because if I'm looking at just from the cap constraints, it doesn't look like they're gonna be that much better. They might be just the same or just underneath. Like that's what scares me. It's like averaging out. I don't know.
Bobby,
Yeah,
what do you
I
think
guess
here?
it's going to be interesting because they're going to be going bargain hunting, which we'll get into. But
Yeah.
it's going to be one of those years again where you're going to try to, five for a dollar, right? Like,
And we'll get into that because there's a lot of RFAs that did not get qualified. There's a lot of good players available. So hopefully there are guys that want to play for Toronto and will do it for cheap and kind of bet on themselves, a la Fred VanVleet. Because listen, when you play for the Leafs and you do well, you get paid. Look at Jack Campbell. He's going to get paid, and he didn't do particularly well. And I love Jack Campbell. He's a darling. He's a sweetheart. But in what world does he deserve over $5 million on a 5-year deal? I don't know. Bobby, go ahead.
Kyle Dubas must love the show Shoresy. I don't know if you guys watch Shoresy, but
Have not got into it yet. No.
one of the lines is the Sioux is so fucking good. And he just loves Sioux players. And he does like Chicago Steel players. Shout out to Nick Moldenhauer, friend of the show, getting drafted. I thought this was smoke. Joe, I thought we talked about something in our group chat where you said I think it was kind of trying to leverage Jack Campbell, but it turned out that this was a real thing. They have no cap space to really do make any real moves. Like they've got a hole in their wall, and instead of tearing down the wall and rebuilding it, they're just continuing to patch it. And this is a patch guy. These are patchwork moves with guys like, Jack Campbell was a bit of a patchwork move, and he worked out pretty well. Matt Murray is a patchwork move. This is a low risk, medium reward move for me. It's, if it doesn't work out, you didn't really give up anything. You got a 3rd round pick back, and at best, it's a medium reward team. The one Devil's Podvocate thing I'm going to say, I'm not a big Matt Murray guy, but he won a cup on a team that was similar to this, that had basically a whole whack of good forwards and then a decent defense core. I think back to that Pittsburgh team. I mean, they had Letang, but he's more of an offensive guy. That defense was not any stalwart New Jersey Devil, like Detroit Red Wing defense core. So he's seen a team like this. Now, I don't know if it's going to work out, but the Leafs didn't really give up anything. Future considerations we know are usually like 10th, 12th guys that'll never ever see your roster. So that's
Sometimes
the one.
it's nothing.
Yeah, sometimes it might even be just cash. I'm sure Ottawa might be just like, throw us a few, $1 million here and we'll be happy. And, we know they're eating cap just because of the cap space, not because the Leafs actually need that money. They don't really care. But
That's right.
low risk, medium reward. I don't even think this is a high reward because I'm not really a Matt Murray guy. But again, they're all their money's being tied up. I don't know what else they're supposed to do unless draft and develop a guy that's going to take 2, 3, 4 years. So as a Leaf fan, you knew this was going to happen.
And that is the real crux of the problem, is that they haven't drafted and developed their own guy. I like that. I think in the last 5 drafts, they've drafted a goalie each draft. I think that's what you need to do. Get more darts at the dartboard and see what can hit. But maybe it's not just drafting the goalie. It's the problem. It's their development of these goalies. Yeah. That is part of the problem as well. if they could come up with their own homegrown goalie, then they wouldn't be searching for a damn goalie every single season. It seems like that's how you solve the issue. What's the other option for them in this instance? So Bobby, as a non-Leaf fan, would you have rather seen the Leafs sign Jack Campbell, who they know can play decent in this market, who they know can pick himself up when he's fallen down in this market? Would you rather pay him 5 times 5, or would you rather take this gamble that they've just chosen to take?
I like Jack. Like, you guys know, I'm a big Jack Campbell guy. I think he's a high character guy, but at $5 million, that's a lot to commit to a guy that we don't even know if he can play 50 games a season. Like, if you're talking 2.5, 3 million, throw some what at the wall, see if it sticks. That's fine. But $5 million, that's a pretty healthy commitment. I think I would come back to you guys and say, now exercise my brain here because I'm older and I don't remember. But Colorado, what did they give up for Georgiev? As a Leaf fan, would you have rather the Leafs gone after like a Georgiev move? Because I think he signed for what,
3.5 he signed for it, and they only gave up a 3rd-round pick for him. But that's Colorado. That's why they're smarter than everybody else.
That's a smart move.
I think we talked about it on the pod of like, I think I said that was one of the things I would have looked at maybe squeezing Georgiev out.
Yep.
Now that's a low risk.
Well, he was not good this past year though either.
No. But I think the ceiling is super high with that guy. And that's they would have given up more obviously because they gave up nothing for the trade they just made.
Yep.
But the upside, I think, that's a potential home run move where it's a high, a low risk, but a high reward. Whereas Matt Murray, I don't think he's got anywhere near what the ceiling that Georgiev has because we don't really know what Georgiev has yet.
Yeah, the guy I would have went after was still for me number one was Varlamov. I know the Islanders said he wasn't available, which I think is BS because Lamoriello gives nothing. But just to see where that team is, knowing that Sorokin is their guy, then having a guy at $5 million playing backup, you can't tell me that money would have been better served somewhere else for them to score goals. So to me, Varlamov is available. So I see this going another way. Maybe this is something where they say, what if Murray gets hurt again? Because he's known to be on LTIR. You put the guy on LTIR, then you got to go and make another move to get a goalie. To use that space to get a goalie. I don't know. All I know is that if it's a rough start out of the gates, like Matt Murray has not experienced Toronto when things are not going well, and that's what I'm afraid of. Campbell was a great guy, nice guy, but I'm done with the whole nice guy act. I want a gamer. I want a guy who can win. That's the only silver lining, I guess you can call it with this, is the guy's got 2 cups, and as Rob mentioned, on a team where that defense had no business winning a cup. That's the only thing and I'm grasping straws. That's the only thing that kind of makes me feel, I guess, okay about it. But what does that tell you, right?
Do you think Lou would be like, I'm not giving anything to the Leafs after kind of the race? What do you think?
Yeah.
You think that was an issue? Because I think that's a good point. Sorokin's amazing. I think Sorokin, outside of the Rangers goalie, is maybe the best goalie that nobody talks about in the league. What's the point of having Varlamov there? I think that obviously, like you said, Lou's very like, he plays things very close to his chest. But I wonder if like the relationship between him and Toronto may have been soured after how everything went down.
I can see Lou being like that.
A little petty? You think Lou's a little petty?
A little bit.
I think Lou Lamoriello wants to win, and if it's a deal that makes his team better, then I think he would take it. I don't think it matters that it's Toronto or if it's Montreal, New York Rangers. That guy's a gamer. He just wants to win. So I don't think that. All right, boys. So Matt Murray, starting goalie for the Maple Leafs. We'll see how it works out. I mean, for Kyle Dubas' sake, I sure hope it does, because that will probably do him in the end. So here we go. Most important season in Leafs history coming up, with a huge gamble and question mark at the most important position in hockey, in the net. So see how it works out.